Hey guys, so welcome to my first in a series of videos I'm going to be doing about guitar pedals. I've been wanting to do this for a while, so if you like what you hear, if you want to hear more about anything in particular, please let me know in the comments below, and click subscribe to see future videos as well. So I figured the best way to start today off would be to give you guys a run through of my particular rig. And this rig I've been using pretty much for about a year or so now. I was using it in a band called Velma for a while. In 1.1 Immermann and for my solo shows sometimes, depending on what instrument I'm playing. But I do tend to mix it up a bit because I do enjoy kind of playing with new toys and like seeing how creative I can get with sounds. But I just want to take you through one by one, show you what I'm using in this particular setting. So first of all, see straight into the chromatic tuner, Boss chromatic tuner TE2. I've been using this for years. Simple. There's nothing to say about the tuner really, it's just really accurate. That goes straight into the CS2, the Boss CS2 compressor sustainer. That one I've been using for about 6 months or so. I was using a Marshall ED1 before that, but this is way better. These are kind of commonly considered to be some of the best compressor pedals made ever. Really a lot better than the CS3 as well, the newer Boss one. These ones have better components, they just sound better. Kind of natural sounding compressing that's going on. In particular, this pedal works really well in conjunction with some other effects too, as you'll see a bit later. But yeah, this will just keep sustaining. We'll crank up the sustain here. We're going pretty much forever. It's a great little unit. Okay, from there it goes straight into the Witch Fuzz God. Now this is a New Zealand manufacturer company, I think. It makes some really good units. This one in particular, it's not your kind of run-of-the-mill fuzz. I mean, it can be used for that, just to kind of get it started. It's a mean sounding fuzz to begin with, but this thing really shines once you start to fuck around with some of its more weird settings. So let's have a look at that. I love that sputter setting. Yeah, so as you'll probably kind of see as we go along, I do enjoy a lot of sounds that make it sound almost like you're doing something wrong. It seems to be one of my things with my rig is I do like fucking with settings and making weird sounds. But yeah, that one's particularly cool. Lots of kind of effects that you really need to play around with to get your head around, because it's not something you can just read the manual for and understand how it works. Okay, from there I go into my vibrato pedal. Now this is your very base of the line Behringer $40 box that you can buy from any store, any kind of beginner's music store basically. But these are modelled on the Boss, the VB2s, the old 80s pedals. I think they're from the 80s, which they don't make anymore, and you can't get for under about $400 or $500 Australian dollars on eBay. So this one is a huge cost cutter, but I tell you what, these are fantastic units for the price. Love the sound that comes out of this. I particularly like this with bass guitar, and in conjunction with like the CS2, a really warm, natural analog sounding vibrato. Cool, so going on from there, this goes straight into the Electro Harmonix POG2, which is their polyphonic octave generator. Now this thing I mainly use on pre-programmed settings. You can see here, one of the advantages of this unit is you can pre-program up to 8 settings that you can then access with just the click of a button, and that's scrolling through the side there. You can also scroll through using this, but what happens when you hit the preset button is it automatically brings up the preset that you've programmed in. So let's just go through my presets first of all. So a lot of these were featured in the Velma Grove stuff that we were doing last year. So the first one is basically utilizing a couple of octaves at the same time with a slightly slow attack speed. So you get the notes coming in a little bit slower than they usually would, and with a little bit of detune on the octaves, which means it gives an almost chorus sound effect. And as you can hear, it sounds a lot like a Hammond organ. The next one, I've just got one octave down from the normal one. So that's just really good for fattening out your sound. I guess that's what you mainly use an octave generator for. Before this, I was using the Boss AC2. Not a bad little unit. Little bit. It was an analog pedal, so it kind of lost it a bit if you hit the note too hard. But this one tracks every movement and will do polyphonic, so 3 notes at a time. So you really can just thicken up that sound, but it's really good for just fattening up your sound, getting those bass notes in. So third one I got. This one is just a little bit of extra octave, but mainly we're utilizing that detune sound that we've got there. Okay, just a chorus effect. Now, I used to have a chorus pedal on this board too, but just having that one setting on the POG 2 means I can eliminate the need for an extra unit on my board. So it's all about, real estate, compressing as much as we can. So I'm one click away from getting a chorus pedal. Next one is bass. So that's just literally one octave down with no dry signal. My 30 watt speaker is not dealing too well with those low frequencies, but you can hear that there. So if you need to just, if you're in the White Stripes or something, if you want to pull out a bass solo, you can do that. Next one's an organ sound as well, but this is designed to kind of come in after a few seconds. This is a really slow attack time. I was using this a lot in Velma Grove too. It just brings a really nice kind of like warmth to your sound, especially if you're doing just accompanying or rhythm stuff. Using this a bit in when I'm playing solo, doing the Grandest plans. You can hear that come through. The next one, this one, is a different kind of organ sound again. Something a bit muddier, dirtier. Next one uses kind of like a fade in, so you can use this instead of using a volume pedal or using your volume knob on your guitar. Again, just an extra kind of effect that I don't need another pedal for. That's particularly good using in conjunction with like a reverb and delay too, so I might bring that in later. And the next one I've got, I really like this effect. This is something that I was reading about online and decided to add it to my presets. This is trying to emulate the sound of a theremin. I'm just going to turn up my amp a bit so you can hear that a bit better. Let's try that in conjunction with the vibrato pedal to get that real theremin kind of sound. It's a great sound. Alright, so moving on from the POG 2, we've got the Tremolo pedal. Pretty standard. Something that I didn't get for a long time. I had a built-in tremolo into the amp I used to use, which was a Mesa Boogie Tremolo Reverb. but the tremolo time that you could get on that amp was quite short. You couldn't get anything, sorry, quite long I should say. You couldn't get anything really short and choppy, which I really, really like. You know, sounds like this. And the Boss TR2 just nails it. It's just like a helicopter. I know as well, the one downside of this is it doesn't give you a flashing LED to show you how fast your tremolo is set to, which would be handy, but you can get mods for this particular pedal where you can add an extra light in there, or they'll add it for you. I particularly like this in conjunction with the CS2 again. See, the CS2 is just so useful for making other effects more interesting. So with this one, it's even choppier than it was before. Let's put the depth full. Make some fuzz. Cool sound. But also this is really useful just for like a softer, you turn the wave down so it's a bit of a softer waveform, depth down and the rate down. It's really nice as an accompaniment too. So you know, I use this a lot in the Venice Wailers, so for songs like Cover My Eyes. Comparing that to the clean sound. Adds a little bit of an extra layer of intrigue to that, especially combined with the digital reverb here. So these two are kind of my standard units. I mean, in the Venice Wailers, when we first started, one of my goals was to minimize my use of effects, and going from a band called Double Handed, where I used a pedalboard that was, you know, at least it had 2 levels, so a lot bigger than this. I kind of decided to go, okay, let's go back to basics, concentrate on the guitar playing, concentrate on the songs. But to start with, all I was using was these two and a delay pedal. And I love that combined sound with just the spring reverb setting on the digital reverb. I love this digital reverb. I haven't found a reverb pedal I like more than this. This has pretty much everything you're going to need. So the spring sound is very accurate. You can hear that. Sounds like a spring reverb unit. You got plate settings, hall settings, gate and room settings, but also the one I really like is the modulate setting. Let's just turn that effect level up so you can really hear that. This was in Double Handed, I use this a lot. It sounds like. Sounds like the Propulsion system. Used it on that. That song in quite a while, but okay, from there we're going into the Electro Harmonix stereo Immermann with Hazarai, which is a mouthful, but that's what they're called because there's many Immermann models, and this one, yeah, this one is called that. So I do use this for my standard delay pedal these days. I do really like the freedom you get with digital delays. I do have an analog delay as well. But I do find myself mostly using this one. And I guess the reason for that is just, yeah, the versatility. So this one again, I do like my modulated settings. So this particular one is modulated 300 millisecond delay. You can see how that changes, that sound changes a little bit. And I can even make that decay a little bit more drastic. So you almost get a chorus sound. Also control how the filter of the decay is, so you can make it quite a high cut sound. You can barely hear that. sound. And then if you put it around, you'll get a low cut filter, which gives you a really specific sound as well. There's a lot of control in this unit. Another thing that's great, I would say probably one of my favorite features on this one. Just put this back. Okay, so this is the pre-programmed setting I've got. There's a 1 second reverb, but what it does is transform the second button on this, the tap record button, into a reverse enabler. So what you get is you get a sound that you can play one chord forward or something forward, and reverse it. And that is really, really handy. I use this in 1.1 Immermann quite a bit. A song called Zebralion or Zebralion. And also in Velma and a song called Older in the second verse. It's basically just playing, because we were always happy to be creative in that band because there was multiple guitar players, always wanted to do something that the others weren't doing, so for this particular verse, Max would be playing an acoustic guitar, and so I would just be playing the chords behind him, and then as they changed, get a bit more creative. So you get that sound where you can have the guitar sound come back at you as soon as the chord starts to kind of disappear. I love that effect you can get. And the reverse echo on this one is really good too, so you can do a lot with it. And the last one is my old favorite. This is the Boss DD20, and I used to have 2 of these on my rig when I was in double-handed because they really are just an absolute workhorse. Like, I've never had any problems with this. You can have 4 different settings plus like a manual setting in there as well, which obeys whatever these are set to. You can write new settings in there really, really easily, and you've got 11 different settings of delay, well 10 different settings of delay plus a loop mode. So what I mainly use this for these days is looping, and the handy thing about having 2 delay pedals is if you're wanting to get a delayed sound, and you're wanting to loop that delay sound, you need 2 pedals. This is an example of a little loop. But the other cool thing about this one is some of the settings you won't find on a lot of other units. This one, the warp setting. So I've got my standard 340 millisecond delay, which seems to be my kind of stock standard go-to sound. But if you hold down the second stomp on the unit, just get an internal loop. Dissipate once you let go, so that's really handy if you want to get a sound that's oscillating but not going out of control. Also, you've got the twist setting, which does this. And that's one you got to kind of watch out for. But just some little things about this pedal that I find really, really useful. I don't know why, they seem to change this for a while with every iteration of the Boss digital delays they release, but sometimes when you turn off the unit, it doesn't stop the effect like this. In pedals, I think the DD5, when you turn off the pedal, it immediately stopped the sound, which I didn't like, because if you wanted to, say, do something like this, basically did there was play one note, have it delay over what I was going to play next, but I didn't want what I played next to be cancelled. But the advantage with this one is you've got that, but you've also got the option of, if you want to cut off a sound completely, you hit that twice, you hit the right one twice. So you go not to the next setting, but to the second setting on, and it cuts off the sound. So you do have that option. So if you do something like this, and it's a bit out of control, you can cut it off with just 2 taps. So yeah, that's my rig. So I hope you've enjoyed this. This is the first in a series of videos I'll be doing. I'm going to be featuring a few more units up close, and I'm going to be interviewing some other guitar players to find out what they use and how creatively we can use each other's effects as well. So yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're interested in seeing more, and I'll speak to you guys soon. See you later.